17 of them because cardigans. Because I am secretly Mr. Rogers.
You have 17 cardigans?
That is an exaggeration. I probably have closer to like 10, maybe?
I don't even know if I have 17 articles of clothing.
Oh, I definitely have 17 dresses.
I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not that much. I have a dire situation in my closet.
You should fix it. Shopping. No, because I mean, like, because my entire wardrobe is leggings and dresses and cardigans. So I have a lot of cardigans and a lot of dresses and a lot more leggings than most people. And only one pair of pants.
How many colors do you have them in? Do you have varieties of colors or mostly just black?
Oh, I have varieties of colors.
Okay.
I also have some polka dot ones, too. And some with a geometric pattern on them.
Geometric patterns are good.
No,
We started because we were talking about Guardians, but now you're talking about clothes.
Well, I like.
Yeah, well, you know what happens.
So Elizabeth, did you just get back from seeing Guardians?
Yes, I got back. I ate some food because I was really, really hungry, and then I sat here waiting until I figured out that it just didn't give me a notification when I was invited to the call. So.
Aww. Well,
so yes.
You're the one who saw it most recently.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
What?
I'm not like crazy about it.
That's
but I really liked a lot of things about it. It was an interesting mix of funny and funny and not taking yourself seriously, and also like really kind of made me want to cry at a few parts, and maybe that was because I hadn't eaten anything all day, but there was that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also hilarious. So I think my emotions were unsure what to do with this movie.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, I had similar, about it. Just because, I mean, I really liked it. I enjoyed the crap out of this movie. But it's not my favorite superhero movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a really fun movie, which is fine. That's not a bad thing. I know for me personally, for something to be my favorite whatever, it needs to have a strong, philosophical underpinning. It needs to be saying something. And this movie isn't really saying anything, and that's fine. It's just a really, really fun movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of saying, it's good to have friends and we can do more together than individually, but, that's a pretty basic thing.
I mean, when your moral is basically day one of kindergarten, play nicely with others.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, because I think the movie, I agree, I think that is the point of the movie, and I think that the movie does an excellent job with that.
And I think also that's a little bit of why, Tumblr loves it so much. Just kind of scrolling through what I found is because it's sort of the sense of, finding solidarity amongst the outcasts. Typical underdog movie.
It is a really typical underdog movie.
It is.
I liked that it was a genre-savvy underdog movie.
Yeah, it was. It kind of didn't take itself too seriously.
It didn't take itself seriously at all.
Right, which made it great, because if it had tried to take itself seriously, it would have not worked. Because every time, there were a few times when I thought it was trying to be serious, and I was like, oh, don't do this, and then it just killed it. When Peter saves Gamora from in outer space, and he's like, found something inside me, heroic, and it starts out, I'm like, oh no, is this going to be romantic? Please don't be romantic, because I really can't buy that at all. And then she just is like, oh my god, you are ridiculous. yes, that is good. That is accurate.
Correct emotional response to that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, so going a little hardcore nerd on this, I'm glad that they chose this as the story to introduce the characters with, instead of going with what I feel like was the more obvious route of doing, hey, who's Peter Quill's dad? And I'm glad that we've saved that mystery for probably, like, movie 2.
Yeah.
Because, like, who's Peter Quill's dad is a very long and complicated conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that instead we introduced who the Kree are, so that, hey, now we can, like, acknowledge the Kree in Avengers. And just set up a bunch of stuff. So I really like that. I do still feel like Guardians of the Galaxy are going to play into Avengers 3. Because, sorry, this is going really hardcore nerd. I feel like they're going to be in Avengers 3 because of the way they're setting everything up, because of Thanos, and the probability of doing an Infinity Gauntlet arc, because of the fact that in the comics right now, that lineup of Guardians of the Galaxy is working with Gamora, or is working with Captain Marvel, who is canonically tied to the Avengers, and she is currently in conflict with the Spartax Emperor, who is Peter's dad. So I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is going to be setting up Avengers 3.
Totally agree with you there.
Yeah. Sounds plausible.
And then I feel like Captain Marvel is going to show up in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and then probably get her own solo movie after Avengers 3.
Yes. Hopefully.
Hopefully. They better frickin' give her her own...
Well, Kevin Feige has been, like, really kind of been saying he wants to do a female superhero movie.
Yeah, no, he's been saying, like, we could do a female superhero movie if only there were lots of women who were fans of Marvel. To which all of the women who are fans of Marvel went, screw you.
Like...
Look
No, that like whole like he's not gonna do it was sort of an Onion article or something like that. No, he's saying he wants to do it.
Good.
Like I've read a bunch of different interviews where like he totally wants to do a female superhero movie.
Good.
And I think there is enough of a fan demand.
Uh-huh.
That a female superhero movie would do well.
Okay, yes, there is a fan demand because it is also a myth that men won't go to see a movie starring a female superhero.
And you know what?
Female superheroes exist, right? Who do you think reads the comics?
I actually think our chances of getting a female superhero movie are much better though with the success of Guardians of the Galaxy, because that's such an obscure property. That movie to do well, it's like Marvel is willing to take another risk, I think.
Well, and did you notice that? Did you hear the news that Nicole Perlman has written a Black Widow movie?
I did hear that. Yes.
Nicole Perlman, who wrote Guardians of the Galaxy, has written a Black Widow movie.
Awesome.
And I want it.
Yes.
A lot. So much.
Scarlett Johansson, pump out that kid of yours, change its diaper a few times, and then get onto the set and make the Black Widow movie.
Trust me, no one wants to see a sequel to Lucy. Actually, I'm not gonna lie, I would watch a sequel to Lucy if only in the vain hope that they would explain something.
The further adventures of the digital hard drive.
The flash drive made of the stars.
It's just 2 hours of a camera on a flash drive.
No.
And there's a little blinking light.
Still make more sense than the first movie. Still make more sense than Lucy.
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
I'm kind of really bummed out because Scarlett Johansson is an amazing actress, and like I just feel like Luc Besson kind of did not do her a solid here. And also the fact that like it's this movie and then Under the Skin are her two big follow-ups to like Captain America, Winter Soldier. Like really, they're both not very good. Under the Skin is okay. It's just weird. It's really weird.
But the fact that those two movies aren't that good might even further help a Black Widow movie because she'll want to do it that much more because it's like, oh shit, I gotta make people forget about those movies. Go back to Black Widow. People love Black Widow.
That is true. Oh, actually, speaking of actors and what their careers are doing and how that might inform the movies, I think Captain America is going to die in Avengers 3.
Oh yeah, people have been saying that.
I think he's going to die in Avengers 3 because Chris Evans does not want to keep doing this.
Yeah, he's only contractually obligated for like 2 more movies.
Yeah, he's only contractually obligated pretty much through Avengers 3.
Yeah.
And he has social anxiety and gets panic attacks and honestly kind of hates being this famous. And he's said very openly he does not want to keep doing it after his contract's up. He's not even sure he wants to keep acting. But really, when he
actually said he wants to do directing. He
yeah.
wants to...
Great. But he and Jensen Ackles can be former super dreamy actors who direct now. But I think that the only way in universe to really explain why we don't have Cap anymore is to kill him.
Yeah.
And given what the comics have done, I think this could lead way to a happy, nifty moment of Sam Wilson being Cap. Please.
Well, they'd probably do the Winter Soldier as Cap.
Well, it depends, because it really depends on whether Sebastian Stan still wants to do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, I mean, he's even less interested.
It will also depend on how well the Sam Wilson run of Captain America works. Like,
right.
if it's a really popular storyline in the comics, then they'll probably be like, well, why don't we make Anthony Mackie? People love him. Why don't we make him Cap?
Everybody loves Anthony Mackie, and Anthony Mackie loves being a superhero, so yes.
Anthony Mackie actually really loves being a superhero. As for having Winter Soldier Captain America, I feel like they would be open to doing that, especially given the way that impacts Black Widow, and like their whole relationship is one of the more interesting things from the comics, at least to my mind. But I definitely feel like it would probably be easier to do Anthony Mackie because he's really, really into it in a way that Sebastian Stan has never particularly appeared to be. Yeah. Sebastian Stan never particularly appears to be into anything, which is kind of why we like him. Because he's just like, what?
They're playing rich, like, nihilists. Apparently he's really into that.
Well, it's just like 90% of his characters are rich, gay nihilists with daddy issues. Way to have a really specific thing.
Yeah, I know. It's like you almost want to hear what goes on in a therapy session with him. It's like,
did you hear his? I think that was his quote where he's like, "I walk down the street and I feel like I'm Paul Rudd, but you put me in a casting office and apparently no one else thinks that." So apparently he's actually a really, like, cheerful, pleasant person. He just has resting angst face.
Yeah.
Which is totally a thing.
Well, there are some people you look at them and you have a certain thought, like the way their face looks. It's like that person is fun. That person's a serial killer.
Right, like Sebastian Stan has a little bit of a natural pout to his face.
Yeah.
Like, in his resting state, his face looks kind of sad.
His face either looks sad or murderous.
Yeah, depending on how much, like, I don't know, thought he's putting into his eyes.
Without kind of making a smirk that has sort of this, like, I know something you don't know look.
Well, yeah, it's really funny because, honestly, this all does come down to how his face is shaped. He always looks like he's smirking.
Yeah.
That's literally just what his mouth does. Sort of like how Chris Evans always looks like he's made of sunshine and purity.
Yeah.
He's not, actually.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy, but
Just, Elizabeth, before we started this whole thing, basically, Debbie wants to do a supernatural. Oh no! Wait, I'm sorry. That was something else. That had nothing to do with Chris Evans. Why did I even bring that up?
No, you were thinking of the thing where I think.
I was thinking of the Jensen Ackles Tyler Hoechlin thing.
Yeah, you were thinking of that because but
All
also
those dreamy guys
Stan and Misha Collins look a lot alike, and I feel like they should play brothers.
Yes, they should.
Also, Tyler Posey and Luke Pasqualino look a lot alike, and they should also play brothers. And that would be very attractive. First off.
Luke Pascal what?
Luke Pasqualino, he's D'Artagnan in The Musketeers, which, if you haven't watched, you should watch.
I know.
And he's gray.
Oh, he does look like Tyler Posey a little bit.
I know, right? Going back. Oh, no. Chris Evans, speaking of Chris Evans and his beautiful sunshine, his mom actually went on record as saying that of all the characters he's played, and he's played a lot of characters, the one he's most like is Jensen from The Losers. Which, I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but that is a hilarious statement to make.
The Losers?
Yeah.
Wait, that's the one where he's got like the crazy mohawk and he's wearing the shirt that says crazy inappropriate things. And
you're thinking of Jensen Ackles in 10-Inch Hero.
Hey, who are we talking about again?
Chris Evans.
Oh, Chris Evans.
A character named Jensen in The Losers.
This is why
also with weird hair.
Got it.
He has round yellow glasses, and he's their computer nerd. And it's just really funny because that character is saying inappropriate things like 90% of the time and constantly cracking jokes and just being a ridiculous human being. And apparently that's what Chris Evans is really like. And that makes me happy.
I liked The Losers. That movie does not get enough love.
It does not. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it's a particularly well-made movie is kind of the problem. It's not great, but it's really fun.
Yeah. And it's one of the rare projects where Jeffrey Dean Morgan does not die.
I know, right? I mean, just to put this in perspective, Elizabeth, this is a movie that has Chris Evans, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Idris Elba in a room together.
Sounds like a good recipe.
Sometimes shirtless. Oh, it also has Zoe Saldana in it.
Yes.
And two other actors whose names I don't know as well. Columbus Short.
A Spanish guy and the dude from Scandal.
Columbus Short and that I can't remember his name.
And Jason Patrick. Let us not forget him.
Oh, Jason Patrick.
As the bad guy.
It's not a good movie, but it is a fun movie.
I'm looking at pictures from it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Evans just looks like Chris Evans.
There's a part where he has to do a quick change in an elevator, and the elevator stops on a floor and it opens, and there's two women standing there, and he doesn't have any pants on, and he just stands there and he goes, like in the angle of the dangle, and
okay,
it goes back up. But you're just going, oh my gosh.
That was Chris Evans' fourth movie where it's based on a comic book, I think.
He's done so many movies. He's been a superhero so many times.
Not just a superhero, just comics. Yeah. Scott Pilgrim, Fantastic Four, Snowpiercer, Captain America, The Losers. There's another one. There's an animated one. Patrick?
He
voices someone in an animated movie that's also based on a comic.
I'm trying to think.
But yeah, there's a lot of movies that are based on.
Teenage Mutant Ninja TMNT.
That was it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he
voices Casey Jones.
Chris Evans, he likes the comics.
Yes.
Yet he did not know that the Avengers battle cry was Avengers Assemble. I remember that. There was an MTV interview with like Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., and Chris Hemsworth, and none of them knew Avengers Assemble.
To be fair, that might be because he does get social anxiety. He might actually know that, he just couldn't remember it on camera.
I'm gonna assume he just didn't know it.
No, but I also find it funny that he and Scarlett Johansson, Avengers was their third movie together. Because they did The Perfect Score in the early 2000s, which is a high school movie, and then they did The Nanny Diaries.
Oh yeah.
The Avengers. So apparently they're actually really good friends.
You'd hope so. If they're constantly working together. It'd be funny if they hated each other.
It would be kind of awkward and sad.
It would be very awkward and sad.
Though apparently, Gillian Anderson and David Duchovny hated each other for
Aww.
5 seasons.
That's a really long time.
That probably explains why towards the end he was not on the show anymore.
Yes. They're apparently okay again now.
And
but they were not happy.
There were actually a lot of arcs on that show where the two characters were not together.
Yeah, that would probably be why.
That's really unfortunate.
Anyway, going back to actually Guardians of the Galaxy, can we all just take a moment and appreciate that Vin Diesel stole the movie by saying 3 words?
4 words.
I am Groot.
He said, I am Groot, and then he said, we are Groot.
That's
so,
5.
5 words.
Yes, 5 words.
Yes.
But yeah, he stole the movie. And to be fair, he would have stolen the movie even if he hadn't said, we are Groot. Like,
yes.
Pretty much the most compelling performance in the movie, which is terrifying. Let's all take a moment and just be like, Vin Diesel, you're amazing and I love you.
Yes.
Though the best part of that movie, I'm sorry, hands down, Groot dancing.
Yes,
oh, yeah.
Okay, at the end, the Groot dancing scene, every child in the theater was laughing hysterically, and I love moments in movies where I hear child laughter everywhere. I mean, everybody was laughing, but mostly I could just hear the kids laughing.
It was just so wonderful.
It was.
So wonderful.
That was the best soundtrack of a Marvel movie. Let's say that.
I really enjoyed the soundtrack.
We're very clear on that one. I also really liked that they took a moment and established the pathos of each character. Now, not every character landed as well. I feel like Drax, the deep and meaningfulness of his character was slightly detracted by the fact that his backstory is so typical. But, they took a moment and established the real, sadness behind all the characters. Like, that moment with Rocket, when he's talking, I did not get made, that was really sad.
Yeah, it was.
And, Peter's mom dying, that was really sad. And Mora talking about, what happened to her, that was sad, too. They actually took time to acknowledge that these are people who have not had nice lives.
Yeah.
I really love Rocket's speech on everybody's got dead people.
But that doesn't give you an excuse to kill everybody else on your way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that, too.
And I was like, that's wonderful. Also, his follow-up with, you're making me kick grass!
Rocket was very funny.
Rocket was great. So,
let us also take a moment to acknowledge we got a movie with Rocket Raccoon before we got a movie with Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Because DC movie people are lame.
Get off your ass, DC.
Oh my gosh, DC, get your act together. No, The Wonder Woman costume, not half bad.
No, I have no problem with the Wonder Woman casting. I'm sure the movie will be great. I'm just saying, we got a Raccoon movie before we got a Wonder Woman movie.
That is true. And Patrick, I would like to establish that I am less sure that will be great, but I am sure that I will go see it.
Of course you will. We all will.
I fail at seeing movies, but I will try.
You kind of do. It's really funny.
Let's be honest.
I know. I don't understand how I fail so hard at seeing movies, but it happens.
Batman v Superman could be done with sock puppets, and we're all gonna go see it.
Probably.
We all saw the
Always
Lego
like
movie.
bitch about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But Rocket Raccoon was awesome. Yay!
Was really awesome. And I really liked that they made Nebula and Gamora's relationship actually relevant to the plot and to the characters' arcs.
Yes. Also, did Nebula get away? I was a little unclear on what happened to
She
her.
got away. She stole a ship.
Okay.
And by stole a ship, I mean she landed on it and then pulled a Bucky where she, like, grabbed the guy out the window.
Yeah, that's what I thought happened.
Yes. Nebula will be back.
Okay. Yeah.
Good, because I thought she was awesome.
I thought she was cool.
And it's kind of too bad that Ronan won't be back, because he was pretty awesome, too.
He was great.
Yeah.
I really liked the part where we saw his butt.
Probably one of the best actors we have working.
Yes, it's wonderful.
Because like right after I went
fabulous.
to Guardians of the Galaxy, I came home and caught up on *Halt and Catch Fire*.
Uh-huh.
Just like, that's the same dude.
No, it is. I mean, like, you can just take a moment every once in a while and just be like, let's name a movie where Lee Pace is just okay. You can't.
Well, I'm trying to think of movies with Lee Pace in it too. So.
Well, Soldier's Girl, Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, the Hobbit movies,
Yes.
The Fall. Hard to
No,
know.
but he is an amazing actor, and we need to put him in all the stuff.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And also his butt. He's a nice butt. And I'm glad that I have seen it. Also, I did find that really interesting. Like, I feel like I appreciated the fact that they were kind of subtle, but they still definitely got across he bathes in blood. He bathes in blood. It's the thing that he does.
What? Some of those words didn't come through
Yeah.
very clearly, and I do not understand.
Ronan bathes in the blood of his enemies.
Ah. Yeah.
They did not explicitly state this, but if you remember when we first meet him, he's coming out of a pool of blue stuff in the floor.
Yeah.
And then when he hits that guy's head with a hammer, it flows down a channel into the pool in the floor.
Yeah.
That was really kind of troubling.
He bathes in blood. Dreamy. Yeah.
They say it's good for the skin, so.
Yeah, to be fair, it probably is. All those proteins.
And germs.
There aren't that many germs in blood. It's not like it's poop.
Wait, but isn't blood where all the germs are? Like,
It depends on if he has any blood-borne diseases, or if the white blood cells have done things. I don't know.
Die, your white blood cells cease attacking stuff. And second of all, but like once your blood is outside your body in a significant quantity, I would assume that it's not going to attack anything anymore. As for blood,
Well, I wasn't worried about attacking things.
who cares? I don't think he cares very much about.
No, he doesn't. That
He probably
is
can't get them. He is an entirely different species. So he probably just can't get any bloodborne pathogens that they might have.
That's true, yeah. Like if he was bathing in Kree blood, he'd be in trouble.
Right. But as it is, it's just kind of sticky.
It's just gross. It's icky. It's not unhealthy, it's just icky.
Yeah.
But I'm actually writing a blog entry about how much I love this movie and why it sets up so much cool stuff. Because now we have 4 Infinity Gems.
We do. Wait.
We only need 2 more.
Wait, we have the Cosmic Cube, the Ether.
Yeah, which is the Space Gem. The Ether, which is the Reality Gem.
Yep.
The Orb.
Loki's wand thingy, which is the Mind Gem.
Oh, I forgot about Loki's staff.
Yes, that's a gem.
Okay.
And now we have this, which they're saying is the Power Gem.
Okay.
They're not using the same colors as the comics, which
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
going
kind of throwing me off. Because we have
to
2 blue ones. I think really the 2 blue ones is what's throwing me off.
Yeah, that's what's kind of... Well, the fact that one's the cube is kind of...
Well, one's a cube and one's like a flowy thing.
A flowy thing.
The Ether. What are you going to call the Ether?
Okay.
So, but yeah, no, that does mean there's only 2
So now we
left.
just need the Time Gem and the Soul Gem. The Soul Gem we'll probably see in Doctor Strange.
Probably.
That just makes sense to me.
Time Gem.
And I think the Time Gem we'll see in Cap 3.
Really?
I just think that would make sort of bizarre sense in trying to heal Bucky.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because I was like, I thought we agreed that Cap 3 is we're up all night to get Bucky.
Yeah, but once you get him, what do you do with him?
Make
'Cause in the
Natasha
comic-
stand on
in the
the
comics,
on the other
Cap
side.
cured Bucky of his brainwashing with the Cosmic Cube,
Okay.
but that wouldn't really work with the Marvel Universe version of the Cosmic Cube.
So it would work with Loki's scepter.
It probably would, but they need to introduce the Time Gem, and
I like the idea of they make Natasha stand on one side of him and Cap stand on the other, and both of them say things to, like, Natasha's like egging the Winter Soldier on, and Steve's trying to bring out Bucky, and then they just...
He's not a puppy. He's not like, come here, boy, come here. You get to kill stuff with me. Come here, boy.
Remember all of this 1940s stuff. P.S. I love you.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies that Jeffrey Dean Morgan are in.
Or maybe it'll just be like in Avengers when Natasha cured Hawkeye. She just kept hitting him in the head. Maybe she'll just stand up with Bucky and keep bashing him in the brain.
Yeah, well, it either works or it either really doesn't work. One or the other.
I mean, to be fair, at this point, I don't think you can give Bucky brain damage.
Yeah,
Basically,
probably.
See, that's why I think it'll be the Time Gem.
I think you're right.
That'll like reset him back to the way he was before Zola fucked with it.
But I mean, I guess I find that less compelling, though, than the concept of he has to figure out who he is now.
That is true.
And, I mean, emotionally speaking, the Captain America movies tend to very strongly rely on realism.
Yeah.
They are less fantastical. Even with Hydra and their, like, cosmic cube, blah, 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 it's still very rooted in reality. Which seems like a weird thing to say about a movie that has Red Skull in it, but
yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, because nothing in there was too fantastic. I mean, the Cosmic Cube, that's just a really good power source.
Yeah, and
That's
like
you could have replaced that with like plutonium or something.
And like even
We're
her
just
face,
gonna run
like okay, really terrible burn scars. Like he got really terrible burn scars from the radioactive material that they're working with.
Yeah. No, you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe the time gem won't show up. Maybe it'll be in. I mean, there are so many new, different Marvel movies coming out between like now and, you know, Avengers 3.
Yeah.
So we will hopefully see Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet and everything.
I feel confident that we will. It seems like they're doing that. It doesn't seem like they're gonna do.
Whatever they do, I'm interested in it.
Actually, you know what would be a good place for the time gem to pop up? If we do anything else with Scarlet Witch. She'd be a good fit.
Yeah.
I mean, her desire to change time and erase the horrific things that happened to her.
Man, that's a possibility.
What she
Or
wants.
maybe Ant-Man.
What?
Well, because they're connecting it so much to, you know, Michael Douglas with his Hank Pym. So, I don't know, maybe. It seems interesting.
Or it could be that they have all 5 of them going into the third Avengers movie, and the third Avengers movie is finding the 6th one, so Thanos can't get it.
True, that could be it. That could definitely be it. So I think more likely it would be Thanos would have all 5 of them, and the whole reason he has to come to Earth is to get the 6th.
Which I don't think is going to be that hard to pull off story-wise. I mean, the Collector is creepy as crap.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, he still has one of them. He still has the ether.
He still has the ether, yeah.
Yeah.
And then
He has the ether, the Nova Corps has the power gem.
Asgard has the cube.
Asgard has the cube.
Who has the second?
And Baron von Strucker has the staff.
Baron von Strucker?
Yeah, right.
As we saw in the end of the Captain America.
Which means that
oh yeah,
Ultron, it'll probably get taken back.
Yeah.
So yeah, they scattered.
Mhm. So, well, we've established one of the things is on Earth.
Oh.
The Mind Gem is on Earth.
Yes, the Mind Gem is on Earth. As a side note, I was just thinking, like, what's Thor 3 going to be? Like, is it going to be another story about him and Loki? Like, what are they going to do with Thor if they're not doing that? And then I just realized, hey, you know what story they haven't told about him and Loki that they really, really should? The one where Loki tries to seduce Thor by appearing to him in a female form. That is a story from the comics. The thing that Loki did. Because Loki, and we just all accept that we really, really want this, and we want girl Loki to be played by Katie McGrath.
Well, Chris Hemsworth has already said he'd be okay playing female Thor, so maybe we don't even have to recast Tom Hiddleston. He could just.
No, I think we all need to. Well, okay, if we're going for female Thor and female Loki, we have to accept that really the best casting was Jennifer Lawrence and Rooney Mara.
Who, Mara?
Rooney Mara.
Girl with the dragon
tattoo.
Ah. Okay.
I mean, I think Katie McGrath is well cast too, but Rooney Mara, there's just this very unnerving delicateness to her face that's then countered by the fact that she scares the pants out of you. So.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about female Loki and female Thor.
Also, Jennifer Lawrence would be a good option for a young Carol Danvers.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I feel like the Carol Danvers list kind of goes like Katie Sackhoff, Anna Torv, Jennifer Lawrence.
Anna Torv?
Yeah.
I forget who that is.
Fringe.
Oh yeah. Why
She
did
did
I?
pretty good.
But yeah, I mean, personally, I am just Katie Sackhoff.
I mean, yeah.
If you do not cast Katie Sackhoff as Carol Danvers, just don't bother. I'm sorry, just don't
Do
bother.
you think that Katie Sackhoff wants to bulk back up for a role? She seemed like in the years since Battlestar Galactica, she's kind of enjoyed not having to be super
She's
buff all
still
the time.
pretty buff. I mean, have you seen her on Longmire? She plays a sheriff. Like
She's still pretty buff, but she's not Starbuck buff.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, she wouldn't necessarily have to bulk up to play Carol Danvers.
That is true. But
I mean,
I think before we decide that we're going to declare a war on Marvel for them not casting Katie Sackhoff, we do have to accept that we might not be interested. Also, I should point out, Marvel has a policy of casting lesser-known actors, so it may be that we just don't know who would play Captain Marvel yet because they're not super famous.
that's true. I mean, hey, they could cast a complete unknown.
Yeah. Which is why I think Holland Roden is a good choice for Mary Jane, because she's like...
Oh, yes, we have established. Hashtag Holland Roden is Mary Jane.
Hashtag, did you hear that they're making a female lead superhero movie from the Spider-Man universe at Sony?
I have. And it's probably going to be Black Cat.
It's probably going to be Black Cat, though it could still be Spider-Woman with Jessica Drew. And she's rad.
Mm. But they already introduced the character of Felicia.
Oh no, I think Felicity Jones is really well cast.
Yeah.
So, and Black Cat's just an interesting character.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like Sony is trying to get a lot of mileage out of that Spider-Man franchise because they're doing the Venom movie, they're doing the Sinister Six movie. It's like they're really trying to milk that spider cow for as much as they can.
Which, I mean, but when you think about it, there are a lot of options within the Spider-Man universe.
That's true.
Like, you've still got Miles Morales, you've still got Jessica Drew. Technically, if you want to do alternate universe, they're doing an Edge of the Spider-Verse where Gwen Stacy is Spider-Man.
I just picked up that issue, actually.
Oh, you did? Wait, it's out?
Well, yeah, Superior Edge of Spider-Verse right there.
Oh, but that's not the right one. Next month is the one with Gwen Stacy.
See? He's already started recruiting, like...
Oh, so many Spider-Mans.
You got Spider-Man Noir, you got, like, the Indian Spider-Man, you got, Mary Jane as Spider-Man. Where is it? I think... But yeah, there was a thing where Gwen Stacy... Spider-Man. And actually,
Next month,
in the actual Spider-Man comics themselves, they introduced another character who was also bitten by the same spider that bit Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And she's like been locked up. She was locked up by Ezekiel, who was like the spider guru that was introduced in the comics a while back.
There's just, I mean, like...
He's like called Silk or something, I think.
As much as there is clearly a blatant, like, money grab going on with Sony and the Spider-Man franchise, I actually appreciate the fact that they're doing this, because the more they do this, the more likely we are to get to see Miles Morales. And I really want to see Miles Morales.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
But at the same time, it's just like, I want them to let go of that property. I want everything back under one banner so we can get... I know, I'm a foolish dreamer.
Yeah, you are.
I am. But it's, we need dreams. We need dreams to sustain us. And my dream is that one day Marvel will get all their properties back and we can see Civil War, the movie.
I also have that dream. I would say that my more immediate dream is that one day the writers and producers of Game of Thrones will be trapped in a room with a bunch of victims of sexual assault who then kick them repeatedly.
After the show is over, of course.
No. No. No, no.
I know.
Kick them repeatedly now, so the rest of the show is not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not like them. It's the source material. You can't go saying like
way less rapey. Patrick, we've talked about this. George R.R. Martin has started actually like throwing shade at them for making it more rapey. If you watch this in like the Comic-Con panel, he looked pretty pissed.
Mm.
Which is great.
They should listen.
They should, yes.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. You get the Game of Thrones producers kicked in the nuts, and I will get my unified Marvel universe,
Deal.
where both Wolverine and Spider-Man are Avengers.
Okay, and in this universe where both Wolverine and Spider-Man are Avengers, Wolverine is played by Tyler Hoechlin.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. I see him with that haircut, and it looks weird.
I don't think he
Yeah.
has the exact same haircut. I'm pretty sure you just put him in a tank top, and boom.
He is Wolverine.
Give him
Wolverine.
a cigar and have him say
is
"Bubble Lot."
Wolverine.
Just so much
So I
fun.
personally want him as Nightwing in the Batman the new Batman movies with Ben Affleck.
But Nightwing's always more of a swimmer's build. To me. Just physically, he's so big.
Yeah,
And Nightwing's more agility.
yeah, that's true. You do need someone kind of slimmer and.
But just, I mean, like, oh my gosh, him as Wolverine, he's so angry. And, like, him playing older than he seems, like, because I think it's interesting, given that, Hugh Jackman has now been playing Wolverine for, like, 15 years, that we have actually watched him age. But just thinking about it in the context of, he is effectively immortal, and he remembers, when he has all his memories back, he remembers the Civil War. And so, being like, imagine having Tyler Hoechlin playing a character who remembers the Civil War, who's not a frou-frou vampire, but is, in fact, just an immortal, cynical, exhausted killing machine.
Yes. Tyler Hoechlin.
That so much.
Tyler Hoechlin.
Tyler
Yes.
Hoechlin. And then, in a lovely bit of Marvel double casting, Karen Gillan as Jean Grey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make it
You
so.
pretty much could have said any character. I would just been like, yes, Karen Gillan as Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Plus, we can definitely double cast Karen Gillan. I mean, she was bald and blue in Guardians of the Galaxy.
But Karen Gillan is Jean Grey because I feel like she would add a slight sense of humor to Jean, which I feel like as awesome as Pumpkin
Roden
Johnson
as
is.
Jean Grey.
What?
Holland Roden as Jean Grey.
I don't know.
I see Karen Gillan more.
I can see Holland Roden as Jean Grey, but it would have to be Jean Grey without any particular problems with her identity.
Yeah, it would have to be Marvel Girl Jean Grey, not like Phoenix Jean Grey.
Yeah. Like, basically, Holland Roden is good at playing characters who have, questions about the morality of what they're doing and all this stuff and all that. But she's not particularly good. I would say the one time I don't really believe her is whenever she's trying to play Lydia as being, insecure. For whatever reason, Holland Roden cannot, for the life of her, convince me that she is insecure. It doesn't work. I do not believe her. I believe that she's sad and she doesn't know what she's doing and she's in mourning, but I never really believe that she's insecure.
Okay, so Holland Roden as Mary Jane.
Yeah.
Because Mary Jane.
I And you know, I mean, this is just never mind. Never mind.
Okay. I mean, I also think that since we're going kind of Teen Wolf here, I think that Daniel Sharman would make a very good Cyclops.
Daniel Sharman?
Isaac.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, he would be a good Cyclops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we're completely recasting.
We are. We are now completely recasting.
I feel like everybody who's been in the X-Men cast has been in the X-Men cast for so long that we are allowed to completely recast.
We are totally allowed to completely recast. Though,
you know what? Let's just take basically the entire Teen Wolf cast and make them X-Men.
Well, no, because Crystal Reed has to play Kate Bishop.
Yo, yes, we've already long established that.
100% has to play Kate Bishop.
If they do the Young Avengers.
I don't care if they do a Hawkeye solo movie. Because now in Matt Fraction's Hawkeye, like, Kate Bishop is one of the main characters. And she's there all the time. And her laughing at Clint's terrible, terrible life is one of the best parts of that comic.
Well, she's actually not there anymore.
No, she did drive away with Pizza Dog.
She went across country, and we basically got, like, one issue of her adventures, and then an issue of Clint's adventure, then an issue of her adventure.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, she's clearly an integral part of the comic.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Also, Pizza Dog likes her better. But yes. Can you imagine, like, Crystal Reed basically taking the piss out of Jeremy Renner? Would that not be so much fun?
I agree.
Her, like, in an evening gown, being super suave and charming, and him standing there going, relaxed.
We should just, we really need to get, like, the attention of people at Marvel, because we're giving you ideas here, people.
You're so good at casting. Also, I love that moment in the Matt Fraction Hawkeye when he is walking around a fancy dinner party going, casual. And he goes, you know it's not casual? A guy saying casual under his breath.
Yes. Yes.
Marvel. We need more Marvel.
We do need more Marvel.
Of course, I say that, and then, of course, I get burnt out from watching so many Marvel movies in a single year. This summer, let's see, we had a Spider-Man movie, we had an X-Men movie.
We had Captain America.
We had Captain America, and we had Guardians.
Yep.
So many.
It was great.
And next summer, we're getting Avengers 2 and Ant-Man.
So many movies.
So many.
Oh, and Fantastic Four. Isn't Fantastic Four next summer?
Oh, you're right. It should be next summer because they finished.
The weirdness that is Fantastic Four next summer.
So, okay, we'll have 3 Marvel movies. So 1 less than this summer.
Well, 3 Marvel movies and 1 DC.
No, because Batman Superman was moved.
When to?
Next year.
Seriously?
2016.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and that was the big thing because they were both set. Captain America 3 and Batman v Superman were both on the same day.
Oh.
And then Batman vs Superman blinked and moved dates.
Good.
Because of course they did. Because
you're really going to compete against Captain America 3? We're up all night to get Bucky?
Right. No, you can't. Cannot compete with that.
Also,
you
cannot
like the big
that is not the title of the movie.
People were wondering who was going to. That should be the title of the movie.
Like, literally, you cannot convince me. I will refuse to agree that there is any other title to the movie. It is Captain America 3, We're Up All Night to Get Bucky.
Yes.
Or just call it Road Trippin' with Captain Falcon.
Can the whole movie please just be Cap and Falcon on a road trip together looking for Bucky? Like, it doesn't even have to be any villains.
Elizabeth, you're forgetting the really important part. Natasha sitting in the back seat eating all their food.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Let's just remake Road Trip with.
See, here's how it has to happen. It starts with them on the road trip, and then they stop at a rest stop. And when they get back in the car and they start driving, and then Natasha pops up from the back seat because she decided that she got bored and wanted to come with them, and so just found them at that rest stop and got in their car when they weren't looking. And she pops up with a bag of chips. Like, so where's our next stop? You know, the way she says it, which I can't do because I'm laughing at the concept of it and can't do a straight face right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's how it
Cap
starts.
almost hits her with the shield in a bit of comedic. Like, she dodges out of the way, and it's just laughs.
Well, and then Sam nearly crashes the car.
Yes.
Yes.
And then they go on an entire road trip around the U.S. and part of Europe looking for Bucky and keep discovering, like, this swath of destroyed Hydra places, and, like, you know, they're trying to do it, and in the process they take down this bad Hydra guy, and then they get back to D.C. and they've not managed, or they get back to Brooklyn where Steve has moved for Avengers 3. And they're like, we couldn't find him. What happened? And they come in, and Bucky's sitting on his couch eating his food. And Bucky's been there for like a month.
Yes.
And Cap asks Bucky, how did you get in here? And Bucky holds up, like, the rock that Cap hid the key under, like we saw in the last movie.
Yeah.
Just to make a nice little throwback.
We've written the movie for you.
Yes.
Congratulations, everyone will watch that.
Seriously,
Yeah,
I'm tempted to take this recording and just walk down the street to Disney and be like, hey, we've got, like, your next 6 movies, like, right here.
Well, and the only problem with that is that there's not nearly enough Bucky in it. I feel like the best way to do this would be to, like, occasionally cut to Bucky in the apartment so they don't know where he is, but we've known since, like, the middle of the movie when it cut to him breaking in. And, like they're in this amazing, like, intense chase going, I think Bucky's just around the next corner. Cut to Bucky, like, flipping through the channels. Cut back to, like, intense chase. Explosion! He must be at the next base. I feel like we're closing in. Cut to Bucky going to a farmer's market.
Yes.
Bucky has made dinner in Cap's apartment for when they get back. Like, he made fajitas.
You know what we should do? We should just fan make this.
With a glass of wine.
Or actually, no, since they're military guys, I mean, he's made, like, chili or something. Like, something a little bit more like, you know.
Oh.
He made, like, the stew that they used to eat back in World War II.
Patrick, let's be real. Bucky, when we see him in flashbacks, Bucky is not a macho guy. Bucky's kind of, like...
No, but I mean, I'm saying, like, he and Cap, like...
Yeah, but he and Cap together before, I am willing to bet that Bucky is a very, very good cook. Also, they live together in an immigrant community. He probably does know how to make Mexican food. But, I firmly believe that Bucky, like, left on his own devices because he's used to taking care of Steve. So he's probably the one who cooked.
Yeah, probably.
Probably is the one being like, Steve,
there's a scene in the first issue of Original Sin that I want to see in the movies because it's just such a perfect scene. It's Captain America, Wolverine, Nick Fury, and Black Widow. They're sitting at a restaurant eating steak.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the question comes up, what's the best steak you've ever eaten? And, like, Cap gives this great, like, war story. Like, the best steak he ever eaten was, you know, a cow they found outside of Bastogne, and they grilled that up. And I want to see that scene in the movies.
That would be pretty cool.
So if they could do that with the Bucky scene...
I want to see Bucky, like, as he's slowly rediscovering himself, trying to adapt to what it means to take care of Steve Rogers in the 21st century, because we know he's still going to, and then him being like, Steve, don't eat that. That has GMO food in it. Steve, don't eat that. That's not organic. And like just being the weirdest mother hen about it, and then him expanding it until he's doing it to everybody. Like Clint's eating a piece of pizza when he walks in, and Bucky just gives him the dirtiest look, and Clint puts the pizza down.
Yes.
I just want to see Bucky going through Cap's like fridge and like, what the fuck is gluten free?
And then Bucky Googling it and being like, maybe we shouldn't be eating gluten. Like, because as someone really pointed out, like, people get the characterization of Bucky and Steve very much backwards. Steve spent their entire childhood and adolescence and adult lives picking fights, getting into trouble, and nearly getting arrested. Bucky got dressed up nicely and took them to a science fair. Bucky's not like the troubled wild child who's leading Steve astray. Yeah. Bucky is the nice Christian boy who is friends with that Rogers kid and really needs to stop it because he'll never get anywhere in life with Steve dragging him down. Like, if he were a girl, he would be wearing like a sweater and a pretty skirt and a little cross, and not the bad boy getting her. Like,
so basically, Bucky is Sandra Dee, and Steve Rogers is like Rizzo.
But that's what makes their characterization so interesting, is that Bucky looks like a bad boy, but he's not. He's a sweet nerd. And Steve looks like a sweet nerd, and he's a bad boy. So yeah,
he's not the typical bad boy. I mean, neither one of them is. I don't understand why either one of them ever gets a Bucky gets a good boy. Bad boy, like, yes, Steve gets in fights, but he's not like.
Think about how their teachers must have seen them. That nice sweet Barnes boy, and Rogers. Like, because Steve was in detention all the time.
Yeah.
And that he probably didn't do very well in school when you combine his health problems with how often he got into fights. He probably was on the verge of failing out, like, a lot. And he was an artist in the 1930s and 40s, which meant he hung out with degenerates. And Bucky is from we've established, middle-class family. In the comics, his family moved from Indiana to New York. His dad's an undertaker. And, like, he's a middle-class guy, and he's, I mean, there's a couple different versions in comics. One version, he's an orphan. And then I think the version that we're going with in the movies, though, is the version where his parents are still alive.
Yeah.
And they're pretty, like, they're not rich, but he has more money than Steve does. And, again, when given his choice of what he wants to do the night before he ships out, they go to a science fair. Bucky's like, yeah.
Really cool science fair, though.
A really cool science fair, but yeah, I mean, Bucky's thought when he thinks, I'm going to be leaving my best friend for who knows how long. This is our last hurrah before I go off to war. Let's go to a science fair. I don't think people are really gathering it properly when they think of Bucky as being some hellion. Oh,
not only go to a science fair, take a date to a science fair.
Oh yeah, no, let's go on a double date to a science fair.
Yeah.
Let's eat popcorn and look at the exhibits.
Yes.
Like, okay. I really want them to acknowledge that when Bucky's back to himself, is that he's not some super macho dude. He likes cooking and taking care of Steve and science. And he's just a sweet guy. And, like, the idea of everyone having this misconception of who he is and then slowly discovering, oh, so you mean Steve is the one who got in trouble all the time? Steve Rogers? And they're like, yeah. Of course Steve got in trouble all the time. I just want to see Tony get it wrong. Get it
Yeah.
really wrong. And also, I just want more of the Avengers hanging out with each other.
Yes. If they made an Avengers sitcom, everybody would watch it.
Everyone would watch it so hard.
I think that's a good place for us to finish off, because we're not going to get any better than...
Avengers sitcom.
Avengers sitcom is as good as it gets.
Yes.
Okay.
Alright. That has been Crossover Appeal 89. Getting closer to 100.
Woohoo!
And I have no idea what we'll talk about next week, so...
We'll make it
we'll
up
have
as
to
we go.
We'll talk about stuff with things. We can talk about Outlander. We should wait.
Yeah, maybe. Alright.
Cool. Bye-bye.